Tom Hanks now says that if Philadelphia were made today, he wouldn't do it because the character was gay and he's not. Well, besides the fact that this would force all gay actors to reveal their sexuality, even if they didn't want to, great actors, which Tom is one, try hard to keep their private lives private so we don't think of their real lives when we see them in a movie that attempts to transport us into a different world. Could you really look at this actress now and not think of the trial? Should she only play bed-shitters now?
Bill Maher's anti-woke crusade against Hollywood shows no signs of slowing as the comedian unleashes a scorched earth critique of actors, producers, and casting directors for promoting what he sees as a woke agenda that is damaging movies. He takes particular aim at casting directors, calling out what he describes as appropriation-driven ideology, delivering his comments with trademark intensity and unapologetic fire.
Casting directors have to stop listening to the casting police and go back to doing their job, which is picking the best actor for the role. Now, I mention this because a lot of people lately are either apologizing for or calling on others to apologize for playing roles they call appropriation. James Franco was just chosen to play Fidel Castro, and John Leguizamo posted, "No more appropriation. Boycott. This f***ed up. I don't got a problem with Franco, but he ain't Latino." Okay, but John Leguizamo is Colombian American. He ain't a Venetian, but he played one. He ain't a French little person or an Italian plumber, but he played them too, because he's...
Maher's first target was actor John Leguizamo, whom he criticized for embracing a woke agenda that now condemns casting practices which once benefited him. Maher pointed out the hypocrisy, noting that Leguizamo built his career playing diverse roles beyond strict ethnic boundaries, opportunities he might never have had under today's rigid casting rules. If he had been limited only to Colombian roles, Maher argued, his career would have looked very different. Maher didn't hold back, using Leguizamo as a clear example of how Hollywood's political correctness often contradicts its own values and ends up punishing talent instead of celebrating it.
Appropriating sounds like an unforgivable sin until you remember that's what acting is. That's why acting jobs are called roles. Sean Penn won an Oscar for playing gay civil rights martyr Harvey Milk. At the time, it was considered a courageous act of solidarity for a straight male movie star to play a homosexual. Now it's the opposite. Eddie Redmayne played a transgender woman in The Danish Girl, but now calls that a mistake because many people don't have a chair at the table. Well, actually, in movies now they do. And what does it have to do with you playing trans? Does it then work the other way? Can trans actors only play trans characters? Because that's not going to be a good deal for them.
Limiting acting roles based on gender, origin, or political views harms the art of acting. Acting is about stepping into someone else's shoes and bringing characters to life authentically. Restricting casting by rigid identity rules not only limits actors, but also diminishes the creativity and richness of films. Stories lose nuance, performances feel forced, and audiences notice. Cinema thrives on unpredictability and actors challenging expectations. When ideology overrides talent or storytelling, films become flat and unengaging, leaving audiences with entertainment that inspires and moves less.
Isn't the best acting always about making us feel our common humanity beyond separate identities? A black George Washington in Hamilton, of course. But Ryan Gosling as Frederick Douglass? Yes, that would be problematic.
Bill Maher highlighted a glaring hypocrisy in woke Hollywood. Some actors are praised for crossing identity lines, while others are criticized for doing the same. Certain identity-crossing roles are celebrated, but the reverse is attacked, a clear double standard Hollywood refuses to admit. Maher argues this is unfair and illogical. Acting is about stepping into someone else's life to tell a story convincingly. Granting that freedom to some while denying it to others isn't equality. It's ideological policing that punishes talent instead of rewarding skill, ultimately limiting audiences' access to authentic, compelling performances.
We just go by merit and let the best actor win, which seems like what happened when Ana de Armas just got picked to play Marilyn Monroe, even though she's Cuban with an accent. Hey, maybe she should play Fidel Castro and James Franco can play Marilyn Monroe, and then we can all stay in our lanes. Is that what diversity and inclusion look like now? Everybody's staying in their lane.
Imagine the absurdity of casting James Franco as Marilyn Monroe just because he's American, or Ana de Armas as Fidel Castro just because she's Cuban. Maher joked this might please the woke crowd, but the idea underscores a serious problem. Hollywood's far-left standards are becoming increasingly absurd. Casting now often prioritizes identity checklists over talent, suitability, or storytelling. The result is a creative environment where logic and artistic merit take a backseat to ideological conformity. Maher's point is clear. These extreme rules don't improve movies, they make them ridiculous. The industry risks alienating actors and audiences alike, turning art into a political statement. Comedy aside, the warning is sharp. The woke takeover is stifling creativity, with potentially disastrous consequences for storytelling.
Lawrence of Arabia was gay. Peter O'Toole wasn't. I can live with that. Because he was so cool, he almost made me gay. Emma Stone caught hell for playing a Hawaiian, Jake Gyllenhaal for playing a Persian, Gal Gadot for wanting to play Cleopatra, Johnny Depp for playing an Indian, even though he's not an actual Comanche, and spoiler alert, he also doesn't really have scissor hands. And he's not actually a drunken pirate. Okay, bad example.
Maher's point is simple but often ignored. Actors are paid to play roles that may not reflect their own lives, beliefs, or personalities. That's the essence of acting. Immersing oneself in a character with a different ideology, background, or worldview is what brings stories to life. Acting isn't about mirroring yourself. It's about embodying someone else convincingly. The same applies to roles outside an actor's gender, ethnicity, or culture. When identity restrictions override talent or suitability, the craft suffers. Creativity is stifled, and films risk becoming formulaic rather than compelling.
Tom Hanks now says that if Philadelphia were made today, he wouldn't do it because the character was gay and he's not. Well, besides the fact that this would force all gay actors to reveal their sexuality, even if they didn't want to, great actors, which Tom is one, try hard to keep their private lives private so we don't think of their real lives when we see them in a movie that attempts to transport us into a different world. Could you really look at this actress now and not think of the trial? Should she only play bedshitters now?
Maher makes another strong point. Actors should keep their private lives private so audiences can see them purely as the characters they play. Sharing details about their sexuality, identity, or political views makes it harder for viewers to separate the actor from the role. Instead of focusing on the story, audiences are reminded of the actor's real-life persona, which can disrupt the performance. Maher says this oversharing doesn't just affect casting, it creates expectations that roles align with the actor's personal identity. A bit of mystery preserves the art, keeps the focus on the story, and allows actors to fully inhabit any character.
Is Daniel Day-Lewis really like? I haven't a clue, which is why he's so great. Because when he plays Lincoln, I only see Lincoln. I don't think, well, there's a British heterosexual. But Hanks says, I don't think people would accept the inauthenticity of a straight guy playing a gay guy because, quote, we're beyond that now. Don't get him started on bosom buddies. I mean, really? Does Forrest Gump get thrown under the bus too because Tom isn't really mentally challenged? And as far as we're beyond that, no, that implies progress. This is the opposite. This is regression. And it's...
Tom Hanks is wrong. This isn't progress, it's regression. Hollywood is drifting back to a time when actors were denied roles for reasons unrelated to talent. What's called inclusion today is often just a new form of exclusion disguised as feel-good language. Instead of expanding opportunities, the industry set strict boundaries on who can play what based on identity. Maher argues this so-called progress undermines decades of artistic freedom, replacing creativity with ideological rules. Hollywood it's reviving the same discriminatory mindset now wrapped in moral righteousness, leaving talent behind in favor of political correctness.
It is frankly typical of so much wokeness that doesn't build on liberalism. It undoes it. Empathy, putting yourself in someone else's place so you can understand them better, used to be the very heart of liberalism. Now it's considered offensive because don't even try to put yourself in my shoes because you could never know. What a bunch of that always was. Of course, no one can ever know exactly what another person's struggle is, but we try. Black Like Me was a 1950s book about a white man who darkened his skin and went out into society because he wanted to understand what his black brothers and sisters were up against. Today, all the woke mob would see about that was a guy who did black.
As I've said, once someone fully embraces the woke mindset, there's no pleasing them. Standards constantly shift, outrage never ends, and every response is judged wrong. Ignoring black struggles leads to accusations of insensitivity, while acknowledging them can be labeled virtue signaling or overstepping. It's a no-win cycle, where only their solutions, language, and worldview are acceptable. Maher argues this mentality doesn't solve problems, it creates divisions, discourages honest dialogue, punishes good intentions, and makes it impossible to satisfy their ever-changing demands.
Sadly a Gentile, and that's the new sin in Hollywood, being a non-Jewish actor portraying a Jew. Because that's always been the problem in Hollywood, not enough Jews. The woke even have a word for this troubling new phenomenon, Jew face. Do you see what I mean about them having their head up there? Really? The word you're using to fight anti-Semitism is Jew face? It sounds like something Mel Gibson says at a
In the end, Maher's critique of Hollywood's woke casting isn't just a rant, it's a reality check for an industry tangled in its own contradictions. He highlights how actors like John Leguizamo overlook the flexibility that shaped their careers, how identity-based casting stifles creativity, and how double standards reward some while punishing others. Acting, Maher reminds us, should be transformative, rooted in imagination, not limited by gender, ethnicity, politics, or private life. He warns that Hollywood's obsession with ideological purity isn't progress. It risks exclusion, discrimination, and creative paralysis. Oversharing by actors allows activists to police roles based on identity rather than talent. Attempting to satisfy the woke mob is futile, as their standards constantly shift. Ultimately, Maher calls for a return to sanity, storytelling first, talent over checklists.